Hey guys, so today we're gonna talk about the 9 most common mistakes beginners make in soap making. And when I was starting out soap making, I made most of these mistakes and I wasted over $1,000 doing so. And of course, I don't want the same for you. So pay attention because I'm about to show you how to avoid the 9 most common mistakes in order to save money, time, and most importantly, your energy. And in case we haven't met yet, my name is Perry and I have a background in chemical engineering and a master's in biotechnology. And for the past 5 years, I've been working in the biotech industry, focusing on skincare ingredients. And I'm obsessed with understanding formulation, the chemistry behind skincare and soap making, and how to make all of your skincare products at home with the least amount of ingredients as possible. So if you're looking to go from an overwhelmed beginner to a confident soap maker that understands formulation and has control over what touches their skin, and if you're willing to do that without wasting money, time, and energy, then congratulations, because this video is for you. And before we start, I put down together a free PDF that contains a balanced soap making recipe with castor oil, shea butter, olive oil, and coconut oil. It's cleansing, it's conditioning, and it's creamy at the same time. It also contains an essential oil blend that is long lasting because it is anchored with patchouli essential oil. If you want this recipe, comment blend and I will send to you as soon as I see your comment. So let's get down to this video because we have a lot to talk about. I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited for you to see this and I hope I can add a lot of value to you by the end of this video. So let's start with mistake number 1. I used 100% olive oil. So I made a soap with 100% olive oil and I cured it for 4 weeks and then I used it after 4 weeks and the soap felt terrible. It felt slimy. It almost melted in my hands when I used it in the shower. And why did that happen? Like when I start out soap making, most of the recipes, they tell you should cure your soap, if it's cold process, for 4 to 6 weeks. That's the standard. So why is that soap so special? Olive oil, when you make a soap with a high concentration of olive oil, it contains oleic acid. This is the main fatty acid that exists in olive oil. And when oleic acid reacts with lye or sodium hydroxide, it creates sodium oolate, which is what gives this gentle and conditioning lather to your soap. And this type of soap, high concentration of olive oil, is amazing for people who have sensitive or dry skin because it doesn't bubble. It's not very cleansing, it's just gentle, moisturizing and very conditioning. So people who have sensitive skin, they just love it. What happens then is that oleic acid has a very long fatty acid chain, and that takes a bit of time to get converted into soap. So oleic acid takes quite a few months to get converted into soap compared to other fatty acids that exist in other oils like coconut oil. Coconut oil has lauric acid and lauric acid is very short chemically fatty acid chain and it gets converted into soap really fast. When you make a soap with 100% olive oil and you use it after 4 weeks, most of it is not even soap. It's just, it feels very slimy because it's still very oily inside. It hasn't converted to soap completely. So what you need to do is that you need to let it cure for minimum 6 months. And I know it sounds a lot, but honestly, patience is really rewarding at this stage. It becomes better with age. The oleic acid gets converted into soap, but apart from that, water is evaporating, so the bar becomes harder and harder. And after 6 months, you will get a bar that is very long lasting, very gentle and very hard. It's one of my favorite soaps to use, even though I do not have sensitive skin. Comment down below if you ever made a soap with 100%, with a high concentration of olive oil and you had this exact problem. I would love to hear your stories about it. Mistake number 2, and this is so important. I used expensive oils that sounded fancy and luxurious, and all they did is that they add no extra properties to my soap, and they led to dreaded orange spots. Anyone here who doesn't know what dreaded orange spots is? Well, take a good look at this. This is what dreaded orange spots look like. So it's basically when your oils oxidize and they go rancid and they create these orange spots right here on your soap. And while dreaded orange spots are not dangerous at all, so you can still use the soap, it's not aesthetically beautiful. You cannot sell that. You cannot give it to your best friend or your sister. So it's not something that I like to have in my soaps, honestly. And it also comes with a slight rancidity smell as well. And which expensive oils am I talking about here? So you will see a lot of fancy oils like grapeseed oil, and you're like, wow, grapeseed oil, it sounds amazing. Well, let me tell you this, grapeseed oil has a very high concentration of linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is the main reason why you get dreaded orange spots, because linoleic acid is a substance that oxidizes and degrades very easily and leads to rancidity. So if you buy an oil, you search grapeseed oil, fatty acid composition. If it has very high linoleic acid percentage, then that means that it has a high risk of rancidity in soap. I don't know how grapeseed oil performs in other skincare products, but in soap, it has a high risk of rancidity. And there are many other oils like that that do not really offer any extra properties to your lather rather than paying more. The same we see with avocado oil. Avocado oil is a wonderful oil, but once it goes into an alkaline environment and reacts with lye, it's no different than olive oil. All the vitamins and antioxidants that exist in avocado oil that do not exist in olive oil, they mostly get degraded because we are now in an environment that is highly alkaline, very harsh for ingredients like that. Mistake number 3. When I was starting out, I want to experiment. I want to try different oil percentages, different essential oils, different additives like Himalayan salt, clays, honey, oats, charcoal, and so on. And what I did is that I would make a batch of soap with 1 or 2 kilos of oils. And if that went wrong, I would waste the whole thing. So when you experiment with a new recipe and you try something for the first time, try it in small batches, 100 grams, 150 grams of oils. Don't do more, because there is a high chance that it's gonna be a failure. So you don't wanna waste a whole big batch of soap just for your experiments. It costs a lot of money, materials, and it also will probably make you very disappointed in the end. So just always experiment in very small quantities. I also make a lot of deodorants, hand creams, and whenever I try different ratios, I always try maximum 100 grams of total concentration. Just that, not more than that. Mistake number 4. And mistake number 4 has to do with one of the most amazing things about soap making, the scent. And when I say this is one of the most amazing things about soap making, you know why? Because every time somebody checks out my soaps, whether it's here at home, whether it's in a store that I sell them, whether it's in a handmade market, a market that sells handmade products, they all do the same exact thing. They grab the soap, and the first thing they do is this. They smell it. It's like the scent is like the first impression. The biggest mistake here is that we don't know which essential oils or fragrance oils lead to trace acceleration. And if you're new here, trace acceleration is basically when your saponification reaction happens so fast that your soap butter solidifies inside your bowl and you don't have time to even pour it into your mold. It's a very, very annoying thing, and it has happened to all of us. So there are certain essential oils are natural, and certain fragrance oils are synthetic, that speed up the saponification reaction and they make it happen faster. And that leads to your soap butter solidifying really fast. And what you need to know is that if you're buying from a trustworthy soap making supplier, they usually write about the essential oils and the fragrance oils that lead to trace acceleration. So they will say this leads to medium trace acceleration, they even say this leads to discoloration if it's something with vanilla, for example. But if they don't, then you should know that there are certain fragrance oils, like anything that contains vanillin, that comes from vanilla, that leads to trace acceleration. There are certain essential oils, like mainly floral essential oils like jasmine, ylang ylang, geranium essential oil, that have a tendency to really accelerate trace. And if you're interested in know how to avoid trace acceleration overall, I've made a video. I will link it down to the description where you can look at it and let me know what you think about it. Let's go to mistake number 5. I didn't mix oils and lye enough. The moment you add your oils solution and the lye solution together, then emulsification start happening. They start blending in and becoming one. If you don't mix a lot, you might get separation. Basically, your part of your oils and lye solution will separate completely, and it might be that there are areas in your soap that are completely separated and they're feeling very mushy and liquidy. And so you always have to make sure you use a blender. You can still mix by hand. I did it a few times. It takes a lot of time. It's very laborious. It's how they used to make traditional soap, so it's possible. But the blender, like, trust me, you need it. Like, it's a great investment, and you make sure that the emulsification happens. So make sure that you mix well and that your oils and lye solution become one and they reach light trace. Light trace is basically this feeling like the heavy cream feeling when if you pour heavy cream into a bottle or something. Like, this is exactly how you want your soap butter to look like. Then let's go to mistake number 6, which is I mixed the oils and lye solution at high temperature. So if you mix your oils and lye solution, let's say at 35-40 degrees Celsius, you risk of basically having trace acceleration, because, as we said before, fragrance oils speed up saponification. You know what else speeds up saponification? High temperature. The higher the temperature, the faster saponification happens. So if you want to have control over your soap butter, you want to mix at low similar temperatures. You don't want your oils to be at 30 and your lye to be at 40. You want to be around 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. Mistake number 7. This brings back so many memories. Is basically I didn't know when to insulate and when not to insulate my soap. So I made a soap with Himalayan salt. It's basically this one, and it has 10% Himalayan salt by weight, and it also has 50% coconut oil concentration. That's quite high. Under these conditions, your soap butter tends to heat very fast because of the coconut oil and because of the Himalayan salt. And you know what happens when you heat it? When it heats very fast and you insulate it, it heats even more. And when it heats even more, it starts cracking. So I made Himalayan salt soap. I insulated very well. After a few hours, I unmolded and it was completely cracked on top. It was very disappointing, and also I couldn't cut the soap because it had become so hard. Now, whenever I make Himalayan salt soap, I never insulate it, and when I make a soap with a high concentration of coconut oil, so 95% and more, this is a dish soap. So this dish soap is made mainly with coconut oil, and coconut oil tends to overheat. I don't insulate it at all, and I also put it in the fridge for around an hour to cool down, because if I don't, it will literally crack on top. Okay, let's go to mistake number 8. I didn't know how to make scent last. And if you ever made a soap that smelled fantastic at first, and then 3 weeks afterwards the scent has completely gone away, then this is why. Of course, there are certain essential oils that are very light, they're of low molecular weight, and they evaporate very quickly. So they're very volatile. So what you need to do is that you need to anchor them with certain other essential oils that are very heavy, like patchouli, vetiver, sandalwood. They contain substances that have a very high molecular weight, and when you blend them in with substances of low molecular weight that have a tendency to be very volatile, they tend to anchor them and basically make them more long lasting. If you're looking to make a soap where the scent still smells good after a year or so, then you might consider fragrance oils. Fragrance oils are very stable, they're synthetic compounds, and when you buy fragrance oils, always make sure you buy fragrance oils that do not contain any phthalates or parabens, because those are hormonal disruptors. So always check with your supplier before buying a fragrance oil. And most of the fragrance oils are made specifically for soap making, so they're very stable compounds. And one of my favorite things to do, and one I recommend people doing, is that mix fragrance oils and essential oils together. Fragrance oils will provide stability and longevity, and essential oils will provide the natural aspect. So that's my favorite thing to do. And mistake number 9, and this is honestly they're all very important, so I don't know if I should say the most important, but it's one of the most critical ones. I thought the more the merrier. I thought I should buy more oils, I should add more oils to my products, more additives to make them perform better and to make them more luxurious. I couldn't be more wrong. You can make many different soap making products for the dishes, for the face, for shaving, for the body, for sensitive skin, with maximum 4 oils. You don't need more than that. Do you want to make a soap that is very cleansing for the dishes? Use coconut oil, just coconut oil. You don't need more oils. Do you want to make a soap for shaving? Use a high concentration of shea butter with a bit of castor oil and coconut oil. Do you want to make a soap that is suitable for sensitive skin? Use olive oil and shea butter. Do you want to make a soap that is very balanced, both cleansing and conditioning at the same time? Use olive oil, coconut oil, shea butter, and castor oil. That's the 4 oils you need. You need something that gives bubbles, you need something that gives conditioning, you need something that gives creaminess, and you need something that gives thickness to your lather. If you have those 4, you can tweak the ratios to create any product you want. So you don't need more oils, you don't need any fancy oils like grapeseed oil or whatever, rice bran oil, or avocado oil. You just need these 4 oils, and with these ones you can make anything you want. This has been amazing. I hope I could add some value to you, and if you want to know more about soap making and other skincare ingredients and understand formulation and how to tweak the ratios and the formulation to design products based on your own goals, then I've created an ebook that contains 15 tested recipes. I've been receiving a lot of great feedback from it, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. It's what will help you go from an overwhelmed beginner to someone who understands formulation and someone who has control over what touches their skin. My aim is not for you to only copy recipes, but to also understand, why do I add coconut oil? Why do I add this? What can I do to avoid this problem? Because then you know that you have control over everything. If you want this, click the link in my bio, and I hope you found this video very useful. I hope I could add some value to you today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you guys next time.